Good morning. Today is January 27th, 2026. It is 10:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Yahweh Elohim, YHWH, the God of the Bible, Old and New Testament. I am presently here upon the earth. I am from heaven. That is my kingdom. I'm going to cover today some topicals. But first, I would like to cover briefly. A lot of people are going around these days misspelling my name, YHWH. The V did not happen until... Well, before I do that, because understand that there are many antichrists. There are many humans that are into religious folklore and they're into like cultural Christianity or cultural Judaism, and they actually don't care, know, or want to know their actual God, me, Yahweh. And that's a problem, because any people that are denying that I am Elohim, that I am Yahweh Elohim on earth, they are antichrist. They are not of God. So therefore, heed my word and stay away from them and do not associate with them, because in the end, only those who know me, who know I am truly who makes exist, and I am who and what I will be. I am Yahweh, YHWH, Joshua, and truly, like it's simple as that, right? This is the point where people need to step off of the boat with dogma and pastors and preachers and rabbis who want to say Jehovah, they want to say Jesus, they want to use all these false names, because that's what today's lesson is going to be about: parental lies. Before we go into parental lies, though, the letter V has a complex history. It derives from the Latin alphabet, where it was used interchangeably with the letter U. The distinction between V and U began to appear around 1400, and the letter originated originally as a pictorial sign of U. So basically, the V didn't come into even use actually until the 1400s. And then the letter J came into existence as a letter in the 17th century by about 1524, and then by 1611. So again, this was motivated by the Catholic Church. By the 1611 edition of the King James Bible, the letter J was included, marking its official recognition in the English language. So quite literal impossibilities. Like, that's what I mean. So if you are Jehovah-ing it up, if you are Yahovah-ing it up, you do not know me. You do not know my word. You do not know my spirit, right? You don't even have a familiarity with it. So therefore, saith I, the Lord God Almighty, if you are leading my flocks astray, if you are convincing my flocks that I'm not here, if you're convincing my flocks to continue to wait for a false shepherd, a false prophet, or someone who's coming in false names, then shame on you. You will be punished by the full extent of heaven. Sweareth I, saith the Lord Yahweh Elohim. Because I am sick and tired of not having peace. The flesh life is very, very hard on me, and I am only doing all this for the benefit of humanity. I'm not asking for really anything other than just cooperation, because when I have cooperation from my Christian and my Jewish churches, then guess what? We'll be able to accomplish quite a bit. And instead of looking at the real God or speaking about me as the real God and telling people that I am somehow false or I am somehow anything other than what I say I am, and the God power proves who I am, right? You are an antichrist. I suggest you need to go and do a repentance, because you actually have a lot of pride. And you have a reluctance to me because you have some problems within yourself. And you believe the lies of the world. You even believe the lies, old lies, versus believing your God. That's a severe issue that I'm having as Elohim, because I'm about to lay down some wrath. And I hate to see so many people that are fake religious, they're fake believers, and yet they're so far astray from me, right? They're going to get wrapped up in peril. So all these penances will be added to any and all people who failed at spreading the news, spreading the message of my coming, my arrival, who I am, what my real name is, and what I am actively doing every single day for humanity. On the mount, Yahweh spoke to Moses, instructing him to convey to the house of Jacob and the people of Israel with the following message. And just so you know, for a little understanding, Jacob was actually Jacob, right? Because the J did not exist, so the Y did. Which is also why when you see the name J, you need to think Y. My name is Yahweh, Yahweh, right? Yahweh in the flesh. I was literally born under the name of Joshua, right? And my last name is Gram, the Tetragrammaton. I've never changed my name. I have never altered my name. I am truly He. I am the incarnate God. And I'm working my butt off every day on videos, in the flesh, in the spirit, in all categories. So truly, if my humans want to get this plane off the ground kind of thing, then like get behind me. Like let's start doing this. Why is there hundreds and thousands of denominations and churches all waiting for me, all praising me, all loving me, but none of you know me? Do you understand how frustrating that is? Like, and truly, like if I disappoint you in some way, then like I don't know what to tell you. Like, because guess what? I'm real. I'm sorry that I don't hold up to your storybook fantasies or what your preacher and pastors and rabbis have been filling your heads with, because as today's teaching again, parental lies. You could even put parental, teacher, rabbi. You all lie because you're humans. Humans are amazing at lies. You're amazing at deception. And guess what? Usually it starts with yourself. Number one, chief problem is humans lie to themselves first, because then you give yourself permission to perpetuate more lies. So, on the mount, you have seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I carried you on eagle's wings. Now, who is carrying who on eagle's wings? So anytime you're seeing these things, right, you can go through even the corrupt New Testament, which again has not very many shades of truth. But even then, you can find some tie-ins, right? The eagle's wings. There is no Messiah that's going to drop out of the fucking sky and do anything that only I, as Yahweh Elohim, can do. That's what I mean. So, like, stop waiting for fugazis. Stop waiting for false messiahs and false gods to come and do something different than what I'm doing. You are working against my agenda. You are working thus against the kingdom of heaven. If this place has ever a chance to be restored and me to open heaven up, I need the full cooperation of, at minimum, my churches. That's fact. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to who? Myself. Now then, if you will obey my voice and keep my agreements, you will belong to me from among all the nations. For all the earth is mine. That's true. You will be to me a nation of religious leaders, a holy nation. These are the words you will speak to the people of Israel. So, this is me communicating to Moses, Moshe, and again, why and how we are so far off in left field in Christendom that they're waiting on long hair, like things that again are not realistic. Like they're waiting on me to somehow go up into the air and then every head right at the same time. Like I'm saying, there are things called physics. There are things called physics, and that's not a possibility. But guess what would happen is if just 5 to 10 people could understand me, could realize who I am. Like that's what I mean. People are blinded to my glory still. It's notable because anytime I try to make a reach out into comments onto YouTube land or really anywhere, right, other than me using my actual spirit, which is another witness, using my actual spirit to influence President Trump's decisions, to influence other world leaders, to influence certain church leaders, they're doing it without even realizing that I am here in the flesh directing these things. So I think it actually counts for a larger witness personally. Got a beard. I can't find it. So really, like, that's kind of what I mean. I think that's even a larger witness to see that, you know, I'm flexing the God muscle every day, all night, every day. And it's obviously, it's like, it's real. That's what I mean. It's very real. So I would like people to, be fearful in the right way, meaning you're fearful because you're like, I don't want to upset my Heavenly Father. I don't want to sin because then it would make him disappointed. I don't want to have to go into this, battle between my God and say, I'm trusting man, not my God. I'm trusting, you get what I mean? Do you understand what I mean? Because, damn it. I'll put it to you this way. If it's of any comfort, because in some ways, right, I can actually appreciate the Christian hesitation or even the Jewish hesitation, because they're like, if we balk this up, right, then we're going to have to answer to what in their mind they think that the real God is, which I am that real God. I'm not a fake. I'm not a forgery. I'm not a fugazi. But let's say this. If somehow there was this other being out there, right, that did arrive, and again, this is completely false, but I'm saying I'm playing to the narrative that you guys are all kind of holding on to, because instead of holding on to me as your faith, holding on to me as your, like, what the Bible teaches you, how you should be treating me, how you should be listening, how you should be obedient, and how together we'll change the world, and then how I'm going to be able to do lots of really cool things for the remnant people that are going to survive the plagues and trials and all these things. But as of right now, like, I don't have confidence in humanity in any way, in anywhere, to be able to say, you know what, I'm confident, I'm going to go ahead and lay down the law. Then what? I would lose millions of potentials, right? That's bad for business. Damn it. That's bad for business, because I'm a God of creation. I'm a God of civilization. I need people. I need, like, people to inhabit that creation, to help build that creation, the civilization. So I'm saying, right, if you're still peddling the J and the D narrative, then again, you are getting a strong warning by me, Yahweh Elohim. YHWH, there is no variation. There is no Jehovah. There is no Yehovah. And I don't give a damn if that's what the Jews say, because guess what? The Jews ain't God. I am. That's what I'm trying to get through your thick heads, is you guys keep going sniveling to pastor. Pastor, prove me this. Rabbi, prove me that. Guys, your pastor or your rabbi still doesn't know me, and in fact, they're probably going to be the last ones to know me, and that's probably going to be when they die. And that's how I know I am who I am, because there's no other Elohim that has that name. That's my name. There's no other Elohim that is a storm deity by very nature. That's why you're having the snow that you're having, and the new refreeze. Me and my Asherah, she is my actual goddess, my queen consort. We love fiercely, and sometimes we even fight fiercely. But that's our nature with each other. My point is, the only thing fraudulent upon this creation is the humans in it. The humans in it. That's the only thing that's fraudulent. Why? Because you're very deceptive to each other. Because you have faulty emotions. You have faulty hearts. You have faulty thoughts. Right? There's so many humans that I have once had a soft spot for that has only been replaced by an agonizing pain, a weight of peril that awaits you, because you have disappointed me. You have hurt my feelings. Like, truly. Like, that's so ironic, right? Because so many people are in religion to try to save themselves from the abyss, or, to have an afterlife. And most of it is hinged upon what kind of relationship do you have with me as your Elohim, meaning your God. And nobody wants a relationship with me, their Elohim, their God. Like, that's a fundamental problem. So therefore, people are using falsity. That's what I mean. So then you're believing in a fugazi, meaning you're believing in a nothing, hoping for something better than me, hoping for someone better than me. Let me tell you something. If you worship the one true God, Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah, that is me. The God that gave the tablets to Moshe, the God that appeared in the burning bush, the God that made covenants with Jacob, with Abraham, the God that again taught through Yeshua, who is Jesus, right? And like I'm saying, these are very, very basic concepts, and I don't ever say anybody take my word for it just because I'm on a video. I tell you that if you take religious things seriously, if you take my coming seriously, and you were to investigate, then you would be able to see clearly every single thing I do with the God power. I use my divine providence that is innately mine to do all the things that I want to do, and that's my will. I don't have to physically do anything. I don't do magic. I don't do sorcery. I don't have a wand. I don't have any of this stuff. I literally have me, and it requires a thought. So most of my existence here, a lot of times, is trying to stay positive, trying to stay happy, and trying to not see sin. As they say, right? Hear no evil, see no evil. Like, I try to do that in this world, and it's so hard. Because if I see a sin, I get really upset with it. And then if I see someone who's proud about their sin, or proud about their reluctance to know me, their God, I do get angry, I get upset. And then ultimately that person ends up losing their life through divine providence. And so it's a cycle that I want to break. I want to get humanity familiar with me. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know why this is such a challenge. You know, I have made not one dime in 4 years now. Almost 4 years. I have not made any money because I have been working full time, making videos every day, telling you the future, and then executing on that. Because prophecy is, you know, it's one of my things that I use to be able to, you know, prove to you that I'm not just some flesh suit talking. And I like to show the camera this, but I'm afraid it's gonna, you know, I'll take a screenshot. I'm gonna screenshot this just so everybody knows. It's my PayPal that's linked up to my YouTube. I want to prove to you that I have absolutely not made any money whatsoever, and I do not lie. I do not lie, not one bit, not one bit. Put PayPal, save it, so that way you can see it. I'll save that. I'll put that on the YouTube post section. I do not lie. The closest thing I've ever had to a lie, especially in the last 5 years, was when I said my Asherah works for a Fortune 100 company. I got that confused because she said she works with Fortune 100 companies. She's a marketing manager, but she does it internally for a consultation company. So they send out like high-end professionals, right? Developers, like engineers, like they do like high-end stuff. So her organization sends out consultating people. She's like a marketing manager, so she makes sure that the website is, like, all the copy on the website is right, that their strategies, like what they're spending on ads, is right. She makes sure that the keywords in the publishing is right. So she's a manager of a team, and I'm saying she's in the public relations / marketing capacity. I'm saying that was the closest thing I've ever had to a lie, especially in 5 years. Prior to 5 years, still no lying, still no commandment breaking, but I did come very, very, very close. Very, very, very close. But point is, I just wanted to address that. And again, I do fear sometimes that, you know, that the world is following after truly false prophets. They're following after false teachers and preachers and rabbis. And what strikes me, the fear response is, I see these people that they're actively working against me in my kingdom. They're actively like propagating against me, and I can't for the likes of me understand how are you going to carry my Bible? How are you going to carry my word and deny me? Like, how can you do that? How can you do that? I don't use my name for any other purpose but because it's my name, YHWH, in the flesh. And my being is my being. My job is my job. My purpose is my purpose. Right? Would a human go around and shame a deer for being a deer? Would a human go around Yeah, well, maybe you guys, I don't know. That's what I mean. Sometimes you're so, like, I hate to say it, but humans are so insidiously evil most of the time. And then I hear the Christians saying, well, that's why we need the blood of Jesus. Look, let me tell you something. If I could sit here and bloodlet for you and then you magically be good, I'd be the first one. I would raise my hand and say, hook me up. Like, I'll go to the nearest hospital, hook me up to the IVs, and let the whole world drink of my blood if that would somehow make you better. I want your sin gone that bad. But it's not that easy, because there are no easy fixes, right? Humanity has this toddler kindergarten problem where they want instant solves. Did the Israelites get instant solves when they were going 40 years in the desert? Right? But the Christian mindset is, oh, well, Jehovah just didn't like the Jews. That's why he made them go 40 years. Guys, no. Humans are humans are humans. Whether you're in 2026, year 26, or 2026 BC, or 66,000 BC, humans, you guys are very much the same. You have an extremely hard time believing the things that are real, and you have the easiest time believing in falsities. Because to this day, there are Christians, Catholics, whatever category this people fall under. Because I go based on character and behavior, right? I don't even know about your denominations, and I don't care to. But let's say these people are like, no, until I see Jesus in the air, and I am floating up, and I'm touching him, and I'm putting my finger in his holes, like, that's a nasty story. It's kind of weird. That's a falsity. That is wicked in my eyes. That is putting something that's unachievable. You're putting almost like it's like taunting me. It's like tempting me, or not tempting, but it's like putting the goalpost so far away and saying, now kick it. I'm not going to be satisfied until you kick it. You need to kick that football 1,000,000 yards. And then Christians sit back all haughty, Jews sit back all haughty, and it's like, okay, I may not be able to kick that football 1,000,000 yards, but you know what I can do? I can kick it 200,000 yards. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still doing a lot of things that is impossible for humans, but not for me. Like, that's what drives me crazy, Alright, I'm going to go to the bathroom, take 5. I wasn't even trying to go this deep into this at the moment, but here we are. And we're back. So, our meeting started. Oh, goodness, I don't think it broke. Nope, too bad. The point is, like, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely as I can, like, I am trying to do the best I can by remedying evil and sin without causing chaos, without causing mayhem. And it just seems like nobody wants to cooperate with me. That's a shame, because, like, I go online to, pulse check and see, well, the world is still waiting on Jesus Christ. Well, let me ask you a question. If Jesus Christ's real name is Yeshua, which actually translates into Joshua, so actually Jesus is a fugazi, right? As we're learning parental lies today. That's my teaching for you. So if you have a guy named Joshua, who's I, if you were to read the text, instead of saying Jesus Christ, instead if you said the return of God, who's God? Who gave Moses the tablets? God, right? What's his name? It's Yahweh. It's not Jehovah. It's not Jehovah. It's not Jesus. It's not any of those things. Those are all capitulations in the human mind to make you feel better about me. Your feelings about me have no merit, because if we see the human heart itself is very faulty, and it pursues things that truly, like, this is a problem with humanity and me. I say this, humanity will take what I've said or take what I've done, and then they will go and try to wrap their mind around it, and in pursuit of that, they begin forming falsity, then they feel comfortable with it. Then they tell their people. So then who is the actual God in this scenario? I am the divine being who comes from a kingdom of heaven and is old as 14 plus billion years old. I don't know what your version of heaven is or what your version of me is supposed to be, but you understand that the creation you see is very physical. My interaction with this creation is also very physical. It would be very stupid for me as Elohim to create an entire earth, populate it with creatures, including humans, without properly leading those humans to do what I as the creator want them to do. This entire narrative that I am just a spirit, the entire narrative that I am unseen or unheard, like, that would be irresponsible as a father. That would be like one day 2 newborns just appeared in a house and they're expected to raise themselves and teach themselves and all these things. No, I as the father raise my children. I give you instructions. I've given you all instructions, and guess what you've done? You have given what should have been about that thick, and you have bloated. You have bloated me, religion, and all manners and falsities of falsehood. And people are looking out for an antichrist. Look, you guys play around with your word games because at the end of the day, you're hoping I'm really not he because you don't like me. If that's the case, then just publicly say you don't like me. Hell, I won't even charge you a penance, but I would at least give you credit for your honesty. That's a fact. I would rather someone be honest and say, you know what, Yahweh, I just don't like you. I then would actually give that person a medal because I would say, at least you didn't deny me. You can not like me all you want. As long as you obey the rules, you're not going to have a qualm with me. You're not going to have a peril. That's what I mean. You can stay easily out of my way and I'll be out of your way. It is not even a requirement to go to heaven. You don't have to go to church to go to heaven. You should be going to church to learn about me. But if the teachers are faulty, they're not teaching my name, which is Yahweh. They're not teaching my incarnation. They're not teaching about... I could heal a church of 10,000 with simply a thought. Imagine every person in a wheelchair. Imagine every sick child. Imagine cancer. Imagine brain cancer. Imagine someone who's 12 to 24 hours away from death. Imagine if they went to one church that was preaching the truth, the unadulterated truth. And they said, parishioners, God has returned. God has returned. His birth name was Joshua, which to our liturgy says that, we've been using the false name of Jesus, but we know his birth name is is Joshua. We know his last name represents the Tetragrammaton, because who is he? He is God in the flesh. And we have witnessed many of the miracles that Yahweh has been doing for the last 4 years in public, because I've been doing miracles since I was a small child. In fact, I saved almost 20 children when I was in the 4th grade. I was living in a neighborhood in Temple Terrace, Florida. There were some they were teenagers. I was in the 4th grade. And to make a long story short, they were around this park doing a bunch of naughties. And I came out of the pool, and I don't even remember exactly details, but I do remember that I talked them all into going to church. Then I talked the pastor into letting these I think it was like 18 people actually, so a little short of 20. But anyway, I convinced the pastor to give them a Bible, and then I even gave them a little Bible lesson completely from just my gut, my innate. And to that point, I've never even picked up a Bible at that point. In fact, one of my earliest memories I have is it was Halloween. I was dressed up as Spider-Man. I wasn't even in preschool yet, so I was like daycare age. I was still in the partial custody of like the state of Florida. And I remember I had these 4 letters in my mind since I can remember, YHWH. And I remember as a kid, I had this like all the time, and I would look everywhere like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What is that supposed to mean? And I always knew like it had something to do with me as a kid, but I didn't know, right? Because I never picked up a Bible. I was never in a godly family. I was actually, unfortunately, a sufferer in my younger and early adult career. But that suffrage brought me, right, to the pinnacle now, where now I know what parts of society and the human experience need my repair. So imagine if a congregation, a pastor were to get up, and pastor's like, we have God on earth. Let's do this. And they were telling these parishioners, imagine what would happen if that pastor said, now, next Sunday, you're going to come back and you're going to be healed, because my God, our God, the same God that we worship, Jew and Christian, Jew and Gentile, Yahweh Elohim, who is I, because that God said that he's going to heal us if we draw closer to him. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means interact with me, guys. That means subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, like do something that gives, you're not giving me pleasure, you're not giving me anything. What you're doing is you're helping fellow believers build up faith, right? But all too often in my churches, instead of me hearing and listening to people like happy and celebratory and you know, praying for the rise, they're sitting in pews and they're praying for my downfall. You are in my church praying for my downfall. If I truly was a wrathful and vengeful God, I would have smited you a long time ago. That's hurtful. It's even more hurtful that, you know, I am fully dedicated to my purpose, because that's just my purpose. But I'm fully dedicated to getting humanity where it needs to be. And I lay out step by step what we need to do, what you need to do, what I can do. And yet, that's what I mean. I still have a faithless, truthless, non-believing, sinful people. When I look in hearts and minds and I go, do they really want a relationship with me? You know what I find? No. They want a rapture. They want to get taken to Disneyland. It's not happening. Your pastor, your teacher lied to you. Right? So I'm saying all these things, people don't actually care about me as God. They don't give a damn. They care about that prosperity that they get, that money. They care about going to Disneyland. They care about being cultural Christians. They care about being zeet seat holders. You know, that's what I mean. They care about, like, these rabbis sit back on their high horse that I will knock their asses off. They sit back and they want to speculate about what their Mashiach is going to do, and yet I'm God. I'm literally their Elohim, and then they turn their nose up to me. I don't give a shit what even this book says. Because what I say, what I think, what I will, my existence predates human existence by billions of years. This book is actually, believe it or not, this is the 6th Bible that has actually existed. Because before the last 10,000 years, pre-flood, there was a Bible. And guess what? Before the destruction by asteroid, there was also a Bible. I'm having a hard time teaching the latest version and straightening it out so my humans can get behind me and go, okay, cool. God's here. He's running the show. We see what he's doing. He talks about stuff on Monday that we don't see happen till Thursday. Like, you get what I mean? So, let's get it together, folks. Alright, we're at 34 minutes. I'll get into my teaching. So, parental lies. And this is, again, this stems from humans feeling that there are little white lies that they can tell and that they feel that it's not harmful. And unfortunately, they begin their lying and deceptive careers early on. So, parents saying, oh, well, carrots make you see better. Eat your carrots because you'll see better. Well, carrots, even though they are healthy, they actually do not increase your eyesight. That's, again, it's a lie. It's a lie to get little kids to eat carrots. Santa Claus is not real. But yet parents, right, they get mad if someone tells their child the truth about Santa Claus. You can keep Santa Claus as long as you know it's a fictitious character. And the real Saint Nicholas, right, was an individual, and again has no real truth in the Santa Claus narrative. Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus, again, are two different type of people. It is, growing up, right? And parents would say, turn that light off in the back of the car. It's against the law. I'll get arrested or I'll get a ticket. No, it's not against the law to have the interior light on while driving a car, right? And that's, you see what I mean? Humans are very comfortable with lies. And this starts early. The name Jesus. Every Christian church at this point should have known that's a fake name. And then people are coming out of her, but they're not coming out of anything because they come out of Jesus and then go to Jehovah. Like, what? You swapped one lie for literally another lie. And again, they care so less about me and the truth. They don't even care to research these things themselves. They would rather go through the effort of calling into, crap shows and trying to get an analysis of their very simplified question that they could actually research and come to an intelligent understanding. See, it somehow also, the lie has been propagated that I, as God, do not like people to be smart. That's a lie. It's also a lie that propagates that humans are innately sinful. Well, that's not a full lie. Humans are innately sinful, but not because of your nature. It's because of your nurture. Your parents are liars, therefore your children are liars. Your children have kids and they're liars, and you guys just continue to enforce the same ridiculousness. And then eventually your tail is so long on that, you've made a lie your truth. And to be able to back that bus up, it would cause you too much pain. It would cause churches too much heartache to tell their parishioners, guys, we've been saying, Lord, Lord Jesus, and we've seen a miracle, and then only to come to find out the real God of the Bible's name is Joshua, and his name is Yahweh. So how are then pastors going to back that bus up? You see what I mean? They've gridlocked themselves. I didn't do that. Keep on going with the lies, that I am a totalitarian, wrathful deity. That is completely false and completely wrong. I am a deity of peace, of order, and righteousness. I want peace and justice for every creature, and I want every creature that has free will to be sovereign in their own right, meaning I want you to be creative. I want you to go into the world with freedom to make choices, because when you are making, on your own volition, good choices, it opens up pathways. It opens up more like neuroreceptors. It gives me more clay to help you create better and more beautiful and incept ideas. And it's kind of like this teamwork. But none of that fruit happens, or none of that fruit's possible when people hold on to their lies. They defend their lies. They're in cultural Christianity, or they're in Hebrew roots, whatever your little cults are you're in. You're defending everything else other than me. That's your fundamental problem. Because if you truly just, when you die, if you don't want just the abyss, and you genuinely, that's what I mean, if you genuinely want to go to heaven, that means I'm the boss in heaven and on earth, right? More so in heaven than on earth, because on earth all the humans want to be the boss, and I don't really care. You can be the boss. My goal is to ensure that my creation is functioning properly. If I was going to use a parable, let's say the earth is like a car. Right now the car is smoking, it's sputtering, it barely turns over, the wipers don't work, the brakes are shot, the tires are flat. It looks terrible. It's got like 100 different paint jobs, and none of them have been right. None of the glass is really clear. The seats are ripped up. Like, it is literally busted. The creation is not functioning right because all of the managers, humans, the stewards, little managers, little supervisors, are all busy doing something other than what I, as their God, want them to do. And in this world, it may seem large, it may seem expansive and all these things, right? In the human narrative, like what President Trump said is so big and bad, or what Netanyahu did is so big and bad, or we're scared of Putin, or we want... Guys, this is all cornflakes to me. This is all cornflakes to me. I can help you in a second. But guess what? With free will, that means you have to... I open the door and you guys gotta walk through it. I'm holding the damn door open and everybody is gathered outside the door. Oh, well, hey, Pastor, you're such a great pastor. You know, Pastor, I just want to tell you how much money I've made this month. Thank you. God bless Jesus Christ. You know, and rabbis are like, oh, we're waiting on Mashiach. We're waiting on, because you know what? Instead of the interpretation of Jeremiah 33 being actually, you know, what it says, think about what you're saying. That I, as Elohim, am going to give my glory to the land of Israel. What the flip does that make sense? I am the Lord your God. I am the Lord his righteousness. If my temple was built and I was welcomed home and my Jews stood behind me and said, this is our God, in whatever shape or form he decides to be, because I am who I am and I will be who I will be and I will be what I will be, that is me, then the Jews should just say, we're going to take one out of grandfather, our great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather Abraham, and say, we're going to bow in silence, and we're going to praise, honor, and worship, and listen. If our Elohim says jump, we're going to say how high. If Elohim wants his temple, we're going to put every freaking resource we have to getting his temple. If he wants to bring his wife consort Asherah, then we're going to make sure we have a spot in the temple for her too. Because guess what, guys? Hate to break it to you. Asherah has been in the picture every single time since Earth has ever been created. And just because her and I had an issue a couple thousand years ago doesn't mean that we didn't work through it. But it does show in the Bible, right, where she is kind of ripped out. Like, a lot of those pages are gone, is what I mean. All right. Let me take a quick 5 and then I will get back into the teaching. I think she's off. And we're back. So that was much longer than anticipated. Right in the midst of that call from the school, Cameron's having some tummy issues. See, to that point, right? If I possess the ability to do some of the things that fake Christianity wants me to do, don't you think I would have just teleported my son from school home? Wouldn't that have been a lot easier? You get what I mean? Like, there's a sense of, like, you have to have, honestly, like, a mature understanding of biblical principles to understand who I am. Taking out the fugazis, taking out the childish things. As the Lord of creation, it's my job to make sure that all people, places, and things in the creation are running well. Just as any person, right, is a captain of their home, right? You want to make sure your ship is tight, right? And if something is going awry at your home, it falls on the homeowner, right? The homeowner is responsible for fixing those things. And that's how it is with me, Elohim, right? Creation is mine. It's my birth child, and all the, animals and humans on it. So my job is to help get it cleaned up. There is supernatural aspects of me because of my nature, where I come from, and then truly the nature of reality, meaning that heaven came first. Earth is a byproduct that is like, it's like taking the artwork and then putting it down in like a flesh animation. But that's not where I was stuck at. I was kind of right here with the lesson of the day. So we're on parental lies, right? And we were talking about carrots. They're healthy, but they don't increase sight. Santa Claus isn't real. Saint Nicholas was. The name Jesus is a fake name because the J didn't exist until like the 1600s, right? That's 1600 years after Yeshua. And then people that try to use Jehovah or Jehovah, right? And that's what I mean. Like, you have Christians that are like, well, the Jews call him. Well, who's him? I am him. The Jews say Jehovah or Jehovah. Well, guess what? The Jews have been wrong since Mount Sinai. So really, why are you even taking tips from them? Right? They're just as bad as Christians. They worship messiahs. They worship, they're idolatrous as Christianity is. Because it truly would be, I think the greatest miracle would be if human free will was able to come together collectively under the banner of me, their Elohim, Yahweh, and say, we're done with sin. We're done with mankind's bullshit and running the world and drilling us into the ground. We're tired of being slaves to sin, and we're tired of being essentially preyed upon by big media, big corporations, movies. They're all leading you astray because they're making money out of it. Money rules their domain. Falsehood rules their domain. I am the one sitting here telling you the truth, and you hate me for it. Have I not said you will hate me for the truth, but yet you would love a lie? That's what Jews and Christians do, and then the world does it on a scale that has rarely been seen before. So, you know, me and Asher were on coffee this morning, and we were watching some of the news, and, you know, watching this unfold, the rioting, and like just this false way of thinking really is the root, you know. And we were talking about, I was giving Cameron and Asher a bit of a historical understanding of what it is that's happening in the world. You know, whenever a people that otherwise isn't a free nation like America, like Rome, before Rome fell, what happens is the people began abusing their freedom. The people began weaponizing freedom, right? And the whole point of America, as it even says in the founding fathers, said, you know, that this idea, this whole American democracy idea, is only as good as the people are willing to, like, be good, right? Because if it falls into the wrong hands, like the left liberal nut jobs, the Democrats mainly, if it falls into those hands, they're going to abuse freedoms and liberties to the point where it's going to become dangerous to the very Constitution in which allows them to do it, which is what we're seeing with riots. We're seeing lines being crossed where now people are in their faces, right? They're trying to get reaction out of armed police officers. I have a parable I'm going to tell later about the bees, comparing them to like the ICE agents, but I'll get there. But you see what I mean, is you should have smart people, but guess what? This world has made so much money off of dumb people, because when people are dumb, they don't have to try as hard, right? They don't have to like go and seek knowledge and to reaffirm knowledge and to gain truth and to gain righteousness. That's a lot harder than making shit up and feeding it to every willing hand and mouth. That's what happened to the Jesus people. Like, I do not like the Jesus people. They do not know me. They do not know the truth. In fact, they would rather believe a lie and wait on a lie and thus die in vain. And I've got hundreds of thousands of Christians that are currently in the abyss because they didn't know me. I didn't know them. They died, and the first question I said, "What's my name?" And they didn't even acknowledge me. They were, "Where's Jesus? Where's Jesus?" And I said, "So you don't know me?" And I said, "Where's Jesus?" And I said, "Well, that's not going to get you." And then they pushed me out of the way to look for Jesus. There is no Jesus, so therefore you're not mine, right? And what you're looking for doesn't exist. So if you know computers, then you know a 404 screen. I send you to where you want to go. You wanted to go be in the kingdom of Jesus. Well, that doesn't exist. So I sent you to the 404 page. Now they're in the abyss. They have no body. They have no eyes to see, no ears to hear, just like they didn't on earth. And thus that continues when they've died. Their energy is essentially in a black place. They can feel an itch but can't scratch it. They want to see, but there's nothing to see. They want to hear, but there's nothing to hear. They want to taste, but there's nothing to taste. They want to smell, but there's nothing to smell. They want to even have something identifiable that lets them know that they are at least alive, and they don't even have that satisfaction of confirming that they're even alive. So, truly the abyss is worse than just going down into like the real upside down, right? Which then is a program based on penance. It puts you through extreme situations in a world you once knew, but you don't even realize you're really in hell type of thing. I think if any media did it right, it would probably be the movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come, right? Where she committed suicide and she is in hell and she doesn't realize it, right? Because it's just reliving like your human failures and your human reluctance to kind of come out of your own hell. You see what I mean? That's what happened in What Dreams May Come. And you know, it required Robin Williams going in there trying to convince her. Well, that's kind of how I feel as Elohim on earth. I'm literally trying to like convince people like, hey, you guys got to pull your heads out of your butts, pull your heads out of the false word, pull your head out of your pastor, your rabbi's butts, get your head in my game. That's the only way you're going to get into the heavens. And like, while we're here, as I'm here, like, let's beautify the earth. Let's clean it up. Let's get back to intelligent, righteous humans doing good stuff. You know? Let me know what else we got here. I'll change the song. Yeah, she's got her meeting going. I don't like that. That's too upbeat. I need something to just chill, really. What in the heck? I think this one's decent. Okay. No dog outside. Okay. Moving on. But, so going based on my notes here, you know, again, it's humans teaching lies confidently. There are very few things that get me more upset than people that are confidently wrong, and both the Jews and the Christians are confidently wrong. You know, because if any rabbi is saying that they're waiting on their Messiah, well, then that means that I'm not their God. So that means that they're worshiping a false god. So therefore, the restoration of Israel would actually be, in this narrative, me destroying the inhabitants of current Israel, and then those that march with me to eventually open a temple would actually be with a brand new set of people. That's one lane. That's one pathway. The next pathway is the Jewish people wake up and say, okay, well, much like the days of Moses, we are at the bottom of a mountain building golden bulls because we don't want to acknowledge Yahweh. We do not want to acknowledge our God, our Elohim, because in the Jewish mind, I am apparently so big, so great that we can't even utter my name. I call bullshit on that. And then somehow that pathway is that I am unknowable, unseeable, uncommunicatable, but yet I am going to let a Messiah come and reap my glory. That sounds nothing like me. Like, do you even know me? But no, I bet you could probably quote me any scripture in the Tanakh and then go through what the Rambam said and then what this great Jewish rabbi said. You guys worship your fucking selves, and it's pretty damn disgusting. So, Christians, on the other hand, worship falsity. So I am stuck in the middle lane where truth and righteousness only prevails, and guess what? I have no following. The real God of the Bible is here on earth without a following. And yet, without a following, without a people, my divine will and providence is still done in visual. You can prove it and see it happen in the human sphere every single day. Again, the ice storm is just another thing. You can go back to my videos. That's what I mean. I mark these as witnesses. I closed down all the videos from last year because I wanted to start on a fresh page. I wanted to start on a page where instead of flexing my muscle in just the natural things like storms and hurricanes and snow and tornadoes and earthquakes and volcanoes and plagues and all these wonderful things that I do, I throttled that back to then put my will towards things like governance and nation building or destroying. And like, here we are. I'm doing that. Now I'm doing both, but so just like, again, parents saying, you know, oh, if you leave the light on in the back of the car, right, you're going to get pulled over and get a ticket. Well, it's not against the law to have the interior light on while driving a car, but however, it is against the law to harass federal and local law enforcement, right? Why are parents so keen on lying to their children about me, Santa, carrots, lights in cars, bubble gum you swallow and it stays in your stomach for 7 years? Like, all these are lies that humans have no problem telling their kids. I am absolutely against lying, big or small. I would never lie to my children. Ever. And thus, neither can they. And that's why if you ever ask my children who I am, they're going to tell you straight to your face who I am. Because if they didn't, then they would be lying. My wife is my Asherah. That is her actual name. And that is actually, like, her image, everything. That's what I mean. I look like me, too. Like, I literally look just like myself. I'm just the younger version of me. It's just, so is she. But, anyway. Jesus wasn't God. But as God, I was with Jesus, or Yeshua, right? So that was kind of like the two-party system, because I was born as Yahweh. I am the He who pre-existed in heaven before my own birth. So segueing in from that, my next topicals of the day were, I saw some nonsense this morning, because I usually watch Newsmax too, because at least out of all the players, they seem to have at least the most common sense. Like, John and Krisha in the morning are my favorite newscasters. They genuinely, they have good, they have good solid news. They have a lot of Democrats on that sometimes piss me off, but that's their job, and I can understand and appreciate that. I don't like the aspects of, like, the Pope, because again, you know, how am I as Elohim going to turn these principalities and powers around to the truth? Because you guys are looking for an individual antichrist. There are many. Like, that's what I mean. Like, think about, meditate on the things that you're looking for or hoping for. Because I, as God, I am not going to damn any human. Not President Trump, not Benjamin Netanyahu, not President Putin, not Xi, not Kim Jong-un. I am not damning anybody. I did not create any human being, not once, not ever, to be wicked and evil so I could somehow have some fantastic story play out for you. That would be cruel. And I am not cruel. I am not wicked. I am not evil. I am truly holy and just and righteous. And that's what I have been saying all along, guys. You are fighting non-truth. You are fighting principalities. You are fighting these beast systems like the Catholic faith, right? That it's so big it couldn't be wrong. The Christian faith, it's so big. Jesus really, like, you guys are have fallen for, like, lies. If you were to remove the lies and then come back to me, I'm everything you need. Full and full. One true Elohim. From heaven down to earth, as above, so below. In the flesh, in the mind, the heart, body, and soul. Like, I am the deal. And that's what I mean. If that point comes and you're like, well, I'm not satisfied. Well, think about what happens to someone who's, 400 pounds. Right? When they start going on a diet of health, they don't actually like it. They hate that food. They are eating the broccoli thinking they had a pizza, wishing they had a pizza. Right? They're eating a piece of grilled chicken and they instead want a whole bucket of fried chicken. But the result, if they continue eating the healthy stuff, the result is they live longer, they get stronger, they're more mobile, they're able to do more purposes, thus they're in line. Like, they know it's beneficial, they just don't like it in the beginning. That's kind of how I feel like this relationship between me and humankind goes. Is in the beginning, everyone's trying to hold up to my face like, look. It's like it's my own fucking book. Do you not think I know at least what should be in it? Why don't you listen to the God it's about? Stop listening to Tovia Singer would be a good start. I told you that, right? I started listening to him. He said a few things that tickled my ears, and then eventually what happened, right? His idolatry begins to poke through, and all humans have biases. You all have biases. I don't care. Let me tell you something. There could be the best biblical scholar in the entire world, and you can say that's the Life Application, New American Standard, whatever. You could have the best Bible study person. You could have someone like Tovia. It's my reading stick. And right, they could sit there and quote you scriptures like it's poetry, and they do. It's funny. I just pulled it open, and it is Exodus. Anyway. But anyway, that's what I mean. Like, you could have these, and the Christian pastors too. Like, one of you can do it great in the Old Testament, the other guys can do it great in the New Testament. Doesn't matter. Burn them both, because at the end of the day, that book is not what's important. I am what's important. That's fact. Your feast, I don't care, because you know what? That'd be like saying, oh, we threw a birthday party for you, but you didn't invite the birthday boy, stupid. So why would you even do that in the first place? Why are you even going to hold a feast in honor of me if you don't know me? You haven't sent me a Christmas card. You haven't dropped a comment and said, hey, thanks God for all the work you're doing. You haven't done anything. None of you. None of you. I'm not making money doing this. I'm not enjoying doing this. This is literally my job. This is my purpose. And frankly, if all the humans could get on board and doing their damn purpose, then we'd be in a lot better shape. So, anyway. What me and Asher were talking about was the fall of how empires fall. And it's because the free people that were free, they begin abusing their freedoms to the point where it becomes degraded society. Then it becomes dangerous, and then it begins to collapse. Usually the last step before a government or an entire national collapse. And the U.S. is, again, not out of the woods, because it's not going to fall from an external force. It's not that Russia's going to invade America and America's going to fall by the sword. That's not how this goes. This always goes a lot. And that's what I mean. You guys are looking for the big theatrics. It's never in the theatrics, right? Right? It really isn't in the theatrics. It happens. They're like microbial germs. It happens without you even seeing it. You can usually only see the symptoms. And then none of you humans know the remedy. I'm the only remedy, because I'm teaching you righteousness. I'm teaching you how to make good choices. I'm teaching you about me, your God. And by having those tools, like a bee, you can go out and make honey. You can go out with me and help change the world, change the paradigm. When the sin level gets to acceptable places, a low, That it's a balance, guys. The more sin, kind of like, and I don't like to use the word magic, but I'm talking to simple-minded people. The more sin, the less magic. The less sin, the more magic. That's how this goes. And it's not like it's anything hard to wrap your mind around, right? If we need a balloon to inflate, it requires air in the balloon to expand the balloon. If we don't have the air, the balloon will never expand. As long as the sin of the earth remains at an all-time high, there will never be enough air to inflate the balloon. That's a fact. That's put in place by me to ensure that I am not spoiling wicked and evil brats. That ensures that I am not going to open up the kingdom to being vulnerable by wicked and evil people. I'm not going to have people that are slandering my name, that are teaching me in some demonic way, or that I'm a demiurge, or that I'm a wicked god, or that I'm a totalitarian. No, guys, if that's how you feel, then that's truly because you are a sinful, disgusting human being that truly desires independent fleshly desires. Then guess what? This is the last generation of you kind. You are welcome to live out the rest of your shitty existence being faggots, being lesbians, being transgenders, being Jesus worshippers, being rabbi worshippers, being president worshippers, being teacher, pastor, preachers. I don't care. You can wear your silly white gowns and go down to the river and pray in the name of Jesus, and I don't give a shit. Because at the end of the day, none of that gets you close to me. One thing that is damn true in this book, I would tell most people, I never knew you. I don't know any of you. None. So this approval rating nonsense to that point, right? The collapse of society. Now we have approval ratings for ICE agents. What nonsense. Of course, wicked sympathizers would vote them down, right? Why don't we go and poll U.S. prisons and ask them how they feel about their arresting officer? And while we're at it, let's ask them about their approval rating for their state prosecutor and the judge. The loony left feels that the criminal experience should be like a 5-star treatment. This is insane. If you go messing around in the wrong places, you get bad results. If you go around harassing the police, they are human beings, and if they feel threatened, they're going to shoot you. You see what I mean? By showing up in places like harassing ICE officers, harassing police officers, number one, you're in the wrong place. You shouldn't be doing that. By doing that, this is the parable. I got two. Because again, they're human. They're vulnerable to being fearful. Guess what? If a human being's fearful and they're an officer, there's a good chance of someone getting accidentally shot, because guess what? There's a lot of commotion. There's people in people's faces. There's violence happening. These officers are humans. They're just as scared as some rioters who are out there. Who's the blame for this insanity? Waltz, Frey, Omar, Ortez, Newsom, right? Kamala, the Biden era, the Obamas. Like, this is the group that truly, if you want to talk about antichrist in the flesh, these are people that are because of their actions, not because they were born and I said, okay, Angel Michael, today we're going to create the antichrist and I'm going to put him down on earth and we're going to raise up our good antichrist, so then I as Yahweh can get my jollies off at having an evil person that I can go, ho ho ho, you're going to go to hell. Do you understand how mentally retarded you sound? It's disgusting that you think that I created evil people to somehow play this sick storyline. I want every human being to have an equal opportunity to go to heaven. That is a fact. I find more reasons to get people into heaven than I want to find reasons to damn you out of it. But guess what? I don't even have to damn people out of it. You are damning yourselves out of it. I hand you the olive branch. You slap it out of my face. You spit on me and go, fuck you. I want Jesus. Stupid. 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 And the thing is, the sad part is, I know there are smart Americans, there are smart Jews, there are smart human beings. But you know what? You know what makes me actually believe that there is a true good and evil fight happening right now? Because I know from spirit alone that if one of my good apples, one of my good seeds on this earth got a hold of my video, they would have taken that and they would have ran with it, and they would not be stopping until, that's the real prophecy, until every human being has been told about my coming now, what my name is, what my commandments are, what I'm doing here every day, how I work with creation and I work with man. Your God lives in Florida. Your God is so powerful that I needed to mow my grass this past weekend. So while most of the country was freezing your asses off and getting slammed with snow, I was at 76 degrees with my shirt off mowing, listening to music and bitching to myself and my angels about my neighbor's trashy habits. Just this morning I got a fresh box of McNuggets trash on my lawn. Again, you see what I mean? These fat fuckers can't stop shoving food down their face long enough to even clean up their own trash. So sweareth I, saith Yahweh Elohim, I curse them in their household. Let it burn down for all I care. I don't. I'm over it. I'm over being the one that is taking the bullshit from humankind, and I'm just expected to sit here and take it. Because if I don't, and I bite back, and I do, then everybody's, oh, God's an asshole. You disappoint me. You all disappoint me. Okay. So next parable, and this relates to the Minnesota rioters, right? Because they're saying, well, you can't shoot us, nanny nanny boo boo, nanny nanny boo boo. Well, guess what? One thing is popping off over here, an officer gets scared, he pulls out a gun and he starts shooting. You're both wrong. You're both wrong. The rioters, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. If you want to protest, get a permit and go in front of the courthouse. Go get a permit and go in front of ICE facilities behind the gate. Dr. Martin Luther King was a wonderful, upright man. He led to the freedom, the political freedoms, being able to vote, being able to sit anywhere you want, being able to drink from the same water fountain as any God-given man. And guess what? He did it through true, peaceful protest. And guess what? He was met with fascism. And their cause won. This is not fascism. The laws of the land are trying to be implemented because it is literally for the safety of America, the prosperity of its citizens. How our poor, dumb, intellectual citizens that are the exact ones that need to benefit from the federal programs, that the federal programs are being hampered down because of idiots. I don't even know if I have any more parables in me, but I'm saying, like, you guys, I can't be this stupid. So imagine, right, this is the rioter mentality, right? You're in an airplane, your parachute's on, and you're like, the parachute's guaranteed to open. It says so right here, guaranteed to open. You're gonna trust that, jumping out of a plane, going 30,000 feet down? No, it says it's gonna open. And what happens if it don't? No, it says it's gonna open. Just like ice can't shoot me. You can't do that. You can't do that. Well, that happened, and that parachute don't work. You're dead. Okay? Because the parachute is supposed to open, but then it doesn't. Then what good is it? Right? It is faulty. So are human beings. My point here is, by injecting yourself in a strained environment where you have law enforcement trying to carry out, without the rioters, without the protesters, without all the other extenuating circumstances, human beings knocking on doors of potential murderers, which they are, child kidnappers, rapists, drug traffickers. These are really dangerous people. They are knocking on the door with warrants and paperwork, and at any moment, these illegals could be firing firearms through the door and could kill an officer. Meanwhile, these officers have kids at home. They have wives at home. They're trying to make dinner plans for their, you know what I mean? They have an actual life. They're living, breathing people. And then yet they go out trying to serve their community, to clean up the communities, and it is their job, it is their purpose, it is what they get paid to do. And because that's not dangerous enough, now we're going to throw in a bunch of paid libtards. Like, I don't even know what else to call you, right? You're purple-haired, nose-ringed, you're stupid, you are the scum of the earth. This is God, your God, Elohim, Yahweh Elohim, telling you you are scum. Scum, you are not even worth my hell. You are pure abyss. And even that's not cruel enough for most of you. You are then standing in the way, taunting, harassing, abusing, verbally abusing, throwing things. You are turning up the danger level so high, and you're present. You're going out to riot. You're going out to picket. You are entering into a bit of a war zone. And accidental or not, senseless death would not have occurred if humans had common sense and righteousness. Don't taunt the police and you won't get accidentally shot or purposely shot, right? Imagine, I have people that come to the house to do stuff, like me and Asherah bought the couch a month ago, and I had people come over to deliver the couch, which now I need someone to come pick up the old couch. So if this message finds anyone in Pasco County, can you please send them with a truck to pick up this couch? Well, not just anybody, because if some people that are unrighteous or of a nature that I do not like, they know who they are. There are angels and reaper angels that are in and around this property that will completely sever those heads. So I would not do that. Oh, there's my eagle. I have a nest of 2 eagles actually right over here. That's really cool. They hang out quite a bit. American eagles. So I have bees, and the bees I had to move from the side of my house to the back of my house because I'm pretty sure that these scum of the earth neighbors sprayed like pesticide on them. Well, I moved the beehive to the back. Well, anyway, when I have people come over, I had an AC replaced, they had to come over. I said, hey guys, I have bees. Guess what? Don't go messing with them. They're really friendly bees. They listen to me. They're not going to go after you. They're not buzzing you. They're not going to interfere with your work. Just don't interfere with their work. Guess what? Crew of like 5 guys came. No, not a problem. Not a bee sting. Nothing. Guys came with the couch. The couch was too big to fit through the front door. So guess what? They had to come through my back door. Right next to the beehive. But guess what? They didn't mess with that beehive. And that beehive knew the difference between peaceful people just coming through, minding their business, doing their purpose, delivering the Almighty's couch and the misses. The bees didn't mess with them. ICE agents are kind of like the bees. They're on purpose. They are also armed with stingers. If meddlers, harassers, come and start messing with them, they don't want to sting you. That's the last thing they want to do. But if people are coming up into the beehive like you see on some of these movies, like the little fat kids like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, nanny, nanny. Oh, I got stung. Oh, mommy, I got stung. The evil bees. And then mom comes out and is like, oh, we're going to kill the bees because it stung my stupid child. They're both sinful and they're both going to hell because that's entirely insane. You are a wicked, evil human being. Going up to a police officer with threatening words, harassing language, and physical altercation, and expecting not to get shot. You are the fat, dumb kid who's putting their finger in beehives expecting not to get stung. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that math works out? Yeah. You know, people are the problem. They always have been and always will be. Satan himself can't even hold a candle to the evil that humans do on a constant and routine basis. Humans are liars. You are liars. You are deceivers. You are cheaters. You are violent, stupid, selfish, and you all do it to yourselves. You do all those things to yourselves, and then you do it to others. And you do it effortlessly. That, I think, is truly the hardest pill for me to swallow. You guys do it willingly. You know. So, you know, have a good day. I don't even give a shit anymore. I'm done.